And now, with the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome back our Grand Marshals, T.J. Lewis and Colette Wagner.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
All right.
Young man giving the command through sign language and mom helping out. The engines are fired up. We've got 34 trucks that have come to life and about to make it out onto the racetrack. When we come back, we'll see the green flag and we'll show you how they'll line up. The Cool City Customs 200 is next on Speed. Welcome back to the Cool City Customs 200. Trucks still waiting to roll out onto the racetrack. And as they roll out onto the racetrack, let's roll into our starting grid. Mike Skinner with his 45th career pole. I mean, that guy starts up front almost more than most guys have started in some of these truck races.
See Chad McCumbee, a great run in back in the row number 2. Always runs well on these high-speed racetracks, the 1.5 miles and the 2-mile racetracks.
And between the top three qualifiers, 0.03 of a second difference.
Yeah, very tight. Matt Craftsman starts back there in row 10. Terry Cook, row 7.
Could you imagine running all the way around this track and wind up third by just 0.02 of a second?
And they were running wide open.
That's amazing.
2 miles.
It's amazing that those trucks are that close.
They are, because they do it with different setups, with different drivers giving feedback to different crews, and yet they throw them out on the racetrack and they come back at basically the same time.
Brendan Gaughan's going to have to work his way up to the front after starting in the inside of row 13, but he normally runs the high line a lot quicker than anyone else does. We want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers. Ray Dunlap, can you shine your spotlight on Stacy Compton?
Well, I would love to, Rick, and we want to talk about Father's Day being tomorrow. And Stacy said what a change it's been in his life since he became a father. He wants to send a shout out to his daughter Isabella, who is 1, and to Olivia, who is 3. And Olivia actually sent him a lucky charm this week. He's got a purple bracelet that she normally wears, and she said it's going to bring Daddy some good luck today here at Michigan. She called him about an hour ago and says, hurry up and get this race over, because I miss you. Adam?
Brian Scott starts in the 27th position today, doing double duty. He ran the ARCA race earlier this afternoon here at Michigan. His father, Joe, owns the team and travels in for nearly every race from Boise, Idaho, and he's a true fan. You won't find Joe, his father, on the pit box. He sits in the grandstands at nearly every race. Phil?
Adam, I want to take a look at John Wood. He's a third-generation Wood brothers driver. His grandfather, Glenn, won so many races here in this 21, made it famous. His father, Eddie, will be up on top of the grandstands watching. They're going to carry the Air Force colors. The Wood brothers have won 11 Sprint Cup races here at Michigan to lead all teams at Michigan. John's coming off a great top 10 finish last week at Texas, and he will start from the 15th position. He wants to wish his dad, Eddie, a happy Father's Day. Rick, Mikey.
How about Mikey? I got Johnny Benson I want to shine a light on. Phil, he's from the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. Won 2 years ago, held off Mark Martin late in the going. How many guys can say that? Phil, when we were kids growing up, the famous Johnny Benson winning short tracks all over Michigan, it wasn't this one, it was his dad. Johnny was a legend in this area, and I'd like to take this moment to wish my personal happy Father's Day to all the dads out there watching.
Very good. We're going to ride along with a few different trucks tonight. One of those being the 6 of Colin Brown. He will start in the 19th spot tonight, so he will carry our Ford Drive 1 onboard camera as we watch him try to move through the pack.
We're also going to ride along with the Onion, the Lumber Liquidators onboard camera. Todd Bodine, that 30 truck, qualified in the 3rd position. A lot of talk in the garage area that this is one of the best 2 or 3 trucks in the field. Look for Todd to stay up front.
There's Ron Hornaday. We watched him in Texas drive a perfect race at the end to hold off Kyle Busch and win that race in Texas. He's focused, concentrating on what he's got to do right now, and look for him to be strong today.
Good view of Terry Cook piloting this Weiler Toyota Tundra, and he will have a bird's eye view of what's going on when he starts 14th in this pack. Let's go back down trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. And my final thoughts before we go green today, I want to focus on Todd Bodine. And Phil, I think you're right. He is one of the trucks, to beat today here at Michigan. But today is his 100th start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 13 victories for Todd Bodine. I thought maybe that might be the best in all time in 100 starts. I was wrong. Ron Hornaday had won 25 races by the time he got to 100 starts. But today, the competition is even tougher than ever. Todd Bodine, 3 top 10s here at Michigan. I think you got to keep your eye on the 30 truck today here at MIS. Adam?
And Ray, you mentioned Ron Hornaday. He's had an outstanding 2008, the defending series champion, back in front of the point standings, 45 markers in front of second place Matt Crafton. And one of the reasons why he leads the points is because he's out front so much. Check this out. Hornaday has led more laps than anyone so far this season. 4:14 the number. He's led a lap in every race, but he will have his work cut out for him today. Despite qualifying 9th earlier here at Michigan, he has to start in the back because of an engine change yesterday. Oh, won't it be fun to watch Hornaday try and go through the field and pick up win number 3 on the season.
Thank you, Adam and Ray. Now, what do you guys think about, say, a young driver like Chad McCumbee starting up there in the top 5?
Well, you know, Chad really struggled in practice during our happy hour show. They weren't very good. But again, track conditions has certainly changed. He had a great runner-up finish at Charlotte just a few races ago. Got a great qualifying run here in 4th, but we'll have to see if that Malcolm Construction Chevrolet can stay up front.
The guy that looked really good last week at Texas, qualifying up front and racing his way into contention was that 9 truck of Justin Marks. Look for him to have a strong, another young guy that could have a strong run. There's that truck you see on the right side of your screen, number 9, the Crocs Toyota. Justin's very confident after what he's accomplished lately. Look for this guy to maybe sneak up there and grab a win today too, Phil.
A lot of experience in ARCA Remax series here in the past. So Justin Marks is really learning. He's learning this year, but he's gaining and he's getting better and better each week.
The guy that took that learning and gaining on it to a new level was Scott Speed at Dover. We thought he had the potential of getting up there and making a, winning a race. Darn, he jumped right out there and did it. Wouldn't be surprised to see a guy like Chad McCumbee win. He's been close. Or even Justin Marks, who has a lot of experience here at Michigan, like we said, and has shown that he's making a lot of progress toward being in that victory circle.
Potentially another first-time winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 2008. We're about to find out. The green flag is about to fly here for the Cool City Custom 200. The pace truck has made its way onto pit road. Mike Skinner, Jack Sprague, door to door. The green flag in the air. We're underway.
Jack is hung on the right side of Skinner.
No, look out! Skinner sideways already early on. They're both trying to catch it. Jack Sprague tries to catch it as he moves up the wall.
Awesome.
They're 4 wide down the backstretch.
I knew that was going to get tight, Phil. You could tell those guys were just glued together, and somebody's got to get loose when that happens.
I'm not sure that Jack Sprague didn't cut down a left rear tire. He has fallen all the way back to the very end. Look at that left rear tire, Mikey.
This is definitely flat. He'll need to get to pit road.
Left rear flat.
That's what we're hearing from the crew now, and Jack Sprague's on his way in.
So often when that 5 truck of Mike Skinner got up against the 2 of Jack Sprague, it actually tore the valve stem out of that left rear wheel, and that's what caused that tire to go down.
Now we're seeing side-by-side racing as they're beginning to spread out just a bit here on the racetrack after the first lap. Ray, what are you hearing from Jack Sprague?
Left side tires on this number 2 RVs.com truck, and the yellow is now out. So Sprague coming down pit road. The question is, did he get on pit road before the yellow came out? Do they have to go straight through, or can they stop and do the service? Ernie Cope, the crew chief, says, pull it in here. We'll put tires on it. If we have to go to the back, we will.
Yeah, Ray, they're going to put left side tires on, and they should be able to get back out before the pace truck picks up Todd Bodine. Todd's coming off turn 4 right now. He will have basically free left side tires here. You can see they're going to send him out. Todd's not yet to the start-finish line, so Jack Sprague will easily be back on the racetrack and stay on the lead lap.
And he did get on pit road well before the caution flew, so that means this pit stop is free for him, basically. He's going to have fresh left side tires. Everybody basically has fresh left. Not a big advantage there. But he can go all the way around the track, catch up to the field, and not have to rely on that Aaron's lucky dog. Watch this replay. These guys are just so close together. Skinner just does an awesome job of hanging on to that truck. I can't tell you how hard it is what he did.
And that tire is already flat on that 2 truck of Jack Sprague. He did a terrific job as well holding on to that RVs.com Chevrolet.
Watch this truck of Skinner's. He's out of
45 degrees. He's 45 degrees sideways.
Oh, by the way, and the whole field bearing down on it. That's what you call self-preservation. He knows if he doesn't save that truck right there, he's going to pay for it.
Now, guys, did we see that? What they're foreshadowing before the green flag even came out? They were almost rubbing door to door.
That was a case where you have to sort of blame both those guys. You know, Mike certainly got loose, and Mike's responsible here for his truck, but Jack didn't give him no slack. Jack was laid right on the right side of him, and Jack knows the consequences of that. He knows Mike's could get loose if he gets there, and he did.
Great crowd on hand, and they're seeing a heck of a show already in this one. Ray Dunlap.
Jack Sprague on his way back down pit road right here. Ernie Cope saying, let's get our head together here. Yeah, we're down a lap, but we should be able to get that back easily early in this race. What they want to do right now is check the left rear lug nuts. They took the tire off because they had to pinch off the brake line. When that tire, the left rear tire, broke apart the last time, it cut the brake line. So they pinched that brake line off. Sprague back to the racetrack right now. They wanted to make sure that the lug nuts were tight on the left rear.
Yeah, you know, this is one place that pinching off that left rear brake line is probably not going to hurt that truck. It would be a lot harder to pinch off a front brake line. But watch this start here. Look how close Skinner and Jack Sprague is. Jack is really crowding Skinner right here.
Yeah, and Skinner's crowding back. And that's the way they raced from the time the green flag flew until they got over there and crashed. And like I said, Jack understands the consequences of what he's doing. He knows by getting over on the tight against Mike, it's going to make Mike loose. He's just hoping Mike just gets loose enough where he can scoot on by and grab the lead.
Yeah, and he knows, he should know that Mike Skinner's not going to back off.
Well, I think Mike made that point as they came across the start-finish line. He said, okay, move over, darn it. I deserve some respect. I'm on the pole by 1,000th of a second, not you.
But two great saves right there. Skinner was 45 degrees sideways. Jack's left rear tire was already down right after the initial contact.
Well, that's what I love about these trucks. They have a lot of side force. So when you're leaning against that air, or when you get sideways, that side just straightens you back up, helps you straighten back up. But he doesn't have any side force here, Phil. Look how tight Jack and he are as they go down into turn one.
Yeah, and he's got these trucks right behind him as well. Watch, he's going to get sideways right here. Let's chase that truck up the hill, and there's the contact. Todd drives right on by.
That's why when the green flag comes out, it's Todd Bodine taking it first as we restart here at Michigan.
See, right now, Jack Sprague doesn't need to push this issue. He just needs to stay in contact with that 30 truck. And when the caution flag comes out, he'll get the Aaron's lucky dog and be right back in contention.
Here comes Scott Speed right on the back bumper of Todd Bodine. Justin Marks back behind him.
Looks like there was a little bit of smoke out of that two truck right there.
He's falling back, too. Looks like maybe that left rear fender's rubbing. You could see the damage done on the left rear fender when it blew out, and it's against that tire.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be out there if he's getting some tire rub, and maybe even cut that tire down with the body.
Remember, we talked about these guys needing to be flexible, need to be able to adapt. That 10 truck of Brendan Gaughan is one guy that's not afraid to adapt. He's not afraid to go to the top of the racetrack and try to find some grip.
He started deep in the field, too, and he's already starting to peek around up top. He's come from the 25th starting spot up into the top 10. Kyle Busch gets loose down in the center of turn 1 and 2. Here comes Eric Darnell making the pass.
Here comes Chad McCumbee trying to get back by the 9. The 9 trying to work on the low side of the racetrack. That's for third.
Isn't this fun? You got Todd Bodine leading. That's no big surprise. Here comes Scott Speed, Justin Marks, Chad McCumbee, Eric Darnell, a bunch of young guys that have been up against Hornaday, Todd Bodine, Jack Sprague every week all year long. And right now they're getting the best of most of them anyway.
Again, side by side, McCumbee back to the outside. Justin Marks on the inside. He'll duck in behind him. Now we see Eric Darnell and that number 99 Ford moving up on the inside of the 51 of Kyle Busch. And once again, the 2 of Jack Sprague is on pit road.
Now this is huge here, Rick. If he goes down a second lap here, getting the Aaron's lucky dog will become very, very difficult. If there's not a caution early, while he's 2 laps down, the only guy 2 laps, 4 wide. There goes Johnny Benson, my spotlight, shining bright as he races down into turn 3.
Drove by 3 of those trucks. That 15 of Mark Mitchell. There's the 51 Kyle Busch and the 59 of Ted Musgrave. Now Kyle's going to fight back on the outside. He has momentum up there.
Kyle Busch in practice yesterday and the day before when they were out here, they were talking about the difficult conditions of getting through 3 and 4, and for some reason he said 1 and 2 was fine, but 3 and 4 he was really very tight.
Yeah, these are definitely different corners here. You have a decreasing radius exit off of turn number 2. It gets a little tight over there. And then when you enter the corner, it's a sharper entrance than it is over on going in turn 1. And then when you exit turn 4, it's an increase, or actually a decreasing radius, because you have the trial will actually extra room to move where you don't have that over there coming off 2.
And this, you have to understand, you see Skinner here, excuse me, Terry Cook diving down to the bottom of the racetrack, and then opposite of him up on the top, you see Matt's kind of crafting there, is kind of in the middle of the track. There's guys all over the place is the point. But what you have to understand, this is a new track to these guys with their current configuration. These trucks have less power. They're having to learn how to drive this track differently today than they did yesterday because of the extreme temperature difference and extreme horsepower difference that the trucks have this year.
And you know, yesterday the track was so good, everyone said, oh, we can run wide open around here for several laps. I'll guarantee you they're not doing that now.
Now, we were riding on board with Terry Cook, and we heard him get out of the throttle a little bit. The 30 of Terry Cook, or of Todd Bodine, doesn't look like he's getting out of anything. Is he, Adam?
And you took the words right out of my mouth, Rick. He's led all 9 laps today, and he just came on the radio and said the truck is pretty good. I haven't lifted yet. And he does know his way to victory lane at Michigan. Todd hasn't won in a truck, but he did win his first ever NASCAR race here in 1992 in the Nationwide Series, Ray.
Adam Ron Hornaday started in the rear because of that engine change, so on lap 3 they came down pit road to put fuel in his Camping World Chevrolet. The reason why? Well, we can go about 45 laps on fuel, but those extra 3 or 4 that he may have gained by filling up with fuel could be a big difference if this race were to go green all the way to the halfway point.
I'll tell you, that's pretty impressive if Todd Bodine's able to run this thing wide open. He said he hasn't lifted yet. Scott Speed able to stay right with him. So obviously, if Todd's doing it, then Scott's doing it as well.
I have to go inside of Todd's truck here 10 laps, 11 laps into the race. I want to hear that he isn't lifting.
Yeah, we hear it. I mean, we've talked about that a lot where drivers will say, you know, I'm not lifting, I'm not lifting. They might be lifting just a little bit, though.
You know, and I think in their mind they think they're not lifting because they're so close to wide open.
Yeah.
But you can hear the tone of that engine change. Let's listen to Todd here. Let's just listen as he charges down the back straightaway, heading for turn 3.
That's called pedaling right through there. Now, he did not lift completely off the throttle, but he did lift off a full throttle down there.
That was
Not
a lot
much.
of gas.
I'll tell you what, not much.
That was a lot of gas, and the only thing bad about that, he looks in his mirror and Scott Speed's closing on him.
Yeah, getting closer. He's going to look to the inside. Here comes Scott Speed in that Red Bull Toyota. Scott doesn't look like he's getting through the corners as well as Todd.
Same sound down there, though. Just a little bit of easing off the throttle there, but stay pretty darn close to wide open.
And you saw Scott Speed, he was able to gain on Todd down the back straightaway. That's because going down these long straightaways, Phil, Todd is blocking all the air for Scott. Scott's running free of air right up onto the back of that truck of Todd Bodine's. But when he gets to the corner, that won't work. He's got to get himself a little bit of space, a little bit of cushion, so he has some air to run in turn.
He may have 30% less drag when he's right up behind that 30 truck than he does when he's running by himself.
Todd Bodine leading at Michigan. Scott Speed right on his back bumper. Welcome back. Eric Darnell working on the bottom. Scott Speed trying to get right behind Todd Bodine, but Bodine's pulled out just a little bit in the Cool City Customs 200 after we have completed 17 of the 100 laps, currently on lap 18.
Todd's truck continues to handle extremely well, running very, very quick lap times, but Scott Speed is just about matching him lap for lap. It's amazing how quick a learner this Scott Speed has been.
Well, he got him a couple 100 miles of learning this morning.
Follow his track like you're in snow.
Racing around in his ARCA car.
You heard Slugger say just follow in his tracks just like you're in snow and follow him. There's Eric Darnell.
Check out Darnell. He's the truck that's running very, very low on the track. He hasn't ventured off the white line in the turns. Right on the bottom. Drove past this battle for third. Took over that third spot. Now he's got his eyes set on Scott Speed, lays up ahead.
Yeah, started 11th, already up to third. Good run for Eric Darnell. Looking to get that season untracked.
Look at that truck. Right down on the yellow line.
Yep. Justin tried to run that same groove. He couldn't quite match the speed that Eric had down there.
Justin Marks tucked in behind Eric Darnell. Get some young guys running up front here as we've got Bodine leading, the veteran of the group, but then it's Scott Speed, Eric Darnell, Justin Marks, Chad McCumbee are your top 5. Look at our Revestis Rookie of the Year standings.
Colin Brown leads that with 92 points. He runs right now in the 16th position. There's Justin Marks obviously running in the 4th spot.
And Andy Lally not racing today, Phil. TJ Bell's driving that number 7 truck with Heath Cliff cat litter on the side. One of the best sponsors, I think, in NASCAR.
Adam Alexander, how is Justin Marks dealing with his truck?
I think they feel pretty good in the early going after starting in the top 5 for the second consecutive week. Of course, his first career pole coming 1 week ago at Texas when he finished in the 14th position. Tight end, the word for Justin Marks, so they plan to adjust that on the first pit stop. And of course, Marks with ARCA experience here, trying to gain on Colin Brown in those Rookie of the Year standings that you guys showed a moment ago. 11 points behind entering today.
Starting to see this field spread out just a bit. Todd Bodine has about a 0.6 of a second lead over second place, and then 5 seconds back to Eric Darnell.
You can see Chad McCumbee starting to look around up there. He's wanting to try that high line in his Chevrolet. Drives up to the top of the racetrack. See Justin Marks getting a little squirrely there off 2. It's a tighter corner, like Phil said, a little bit more difficult to get off that second turn than it is this 4th turn. More of a sweeping exit here off 4.
Brian Hornaday right now has already moved his way up into the top 20. There's the 6 truck of Colin Brown. That's a battle for the 15th position right there. There's Mark Mitchell, the 15 on the outside. Ron's going to run that bottom just like Eric Darnell has been doing.
Did you see him run down in there and let off the gas and coast away? These guys have now gotten to the point on their tires, especially in traffic, where they've got to roll off the gas, maybe even lay on the brake a little bit to get that nose settled and headed the other direction.
In our pit window, anywhere from 37 to 43 laps as we've completed 21 on lap 22.
And that first one may be a little bit early because these trucks were impounded.
Right.
They will have had the fuel burn for qualifying plus the pace laps.
Still some pretty good laps from the top 2 guys.
Yeah, that
look
time,
at this.
look at Scott Speed's going to go for the lead.
Looking to the inside. Let's see if he can take away the top spot from Todd Bodine.
You hear Todd roll out of the gas and Scott drives on by. Look like that truck's hooked up.
Yeah, that was a veteran move. I don't think Todd wanted to get down in that corner with Scott on the inside, knowing that truck on the inside is going to lose air off that rear spoiler.
Hollywood, hit your marks, driver.
Hollywood, the new nickname for Scott Speed. We heard Slugger Labby give him a little bit of encouragement.
Ever-changing nicknames for
That's
Scott
right.
Speed right now. Fast is one that would work for him right now.
Exactly.
Or Speedy.
No.
I don't
Mikey, Speedy. Yeah, we could go that direction.
There goes Ron
Take a look at
Hornaday
this,
with
yes.
some drafting help from John Wood. Those 2 trucks teamed up to drive around the 59 of Ted Musgrave. That moved Hornaday up to the 12th spot after starting last. John Wood's going to try to pull through as well. It's going to be more difficult for John to make that pass, Phil, because he don't have anybody pushing him. He lost all of his aerodynamic drafting help when Ron pulled back up in front of Ted coming down the front straightaway.
Yeah, he sure helped Hornaday, but it left nothing for himself there. Hornaday continues to run the bottom of the racetrack. You see his left side's right down on that yellow line. There's Colin Brown right there. Colin's being shown in the 15th spot right there. John Wood, that Air Force Ford right in front of him, is in 14th.
You got your fans on, Colin? 10-4.
Mike Bean wanting to know if Colin has his fans on. Let's see Colin. He's going to try to go. You see how much he was out of the throttle there and still going to make up ground on that 21 truck.
Now he wants to, I'd like to see him push up and behind. Should have pulled up and behind that 21 truck. Maybe give him a shove past the 59 of Musgrave, but elected not to do that. John then pulls up in front of the 15 of Mark Mitchell, gets the drafting help from behind, and they leave the 6 behind.
Mark Mitchell, you just mentioned, he's running extremely high line around this racetrack. Maybe a little too high at one point in time.
Just a couple laps ago, let's take a look at what happened.
These guys are battling.
See the 10 of Brendan Gaughan and the 46 of Regan Smith have joined that battle.
Check out Mark Mitchell. He's down low underneath John Wood. Want to get loose up under a truck. We've talked about that.
He sure does. He has to chase that truck up the hill. That allows Colin to drive back by on the inside.
No wonder he decided he'd go up top. Didn't feel good down on the bottom.
Three wide for a moment.
Don't want to have anybody take the air off my spoiler when I'm down low, so I think I'll just run up here on the wall. So Scott Speed has taken over the top spot. It's been Todd Bodine and Scott Speed all race since the drop of the green flag. Great infield here at Michigan International Speedway. A lot of fans still up on their RVs, and great fans in the grandstands here as well.
Great crowd today. There isn't any more room in the infield, and the whole front straightaway is packed with fans coming out to see these trucks mix it up. Todd Bodine will not let Scott Speed get away from him. Todd's adjusted his line a little bit, Phil. He's running a little lower in the corner than Scott now, and actually the last couple of laps has been faster than Scott Speed.
He's trying to adapt to this racetrack. Obviously, so much more heat in this racetrack than we saw yesterday, and that's what we talked about at the very beginning of the show, adaptability, and Todd's trying to do that right now. You see, obviously, right there, our last lap, Todd almost a mile an hour faster than Scott Speed.
He went lower in turns 1 and 3 and 4 than Scott. Now he's running up on the high side of him in 1 and 2. So that's what I like about this track. You don't have to run the bottom or the top. You can run both. You can run high on one end, low in the other. You can run through the middle. There's just options every time you get to a corner. Somebody's running in your line, pick you another one. It'll work.
He's closing in on the back bumper of Scott Speed. Eric Darnell and Johnny Benson continue to battle on the racetrack. Eric Darnell's got the 3rd spot. Johnny Benson running in the 4th position. Just behind him is Justin Marks. Adam, what's going on with JB?
And you guys talking about Johnny Benson, a guy who's been very, very successful here today. Started 8th, dropped back outside the top 10, but has rallied up to the 4th position. JB driving the same truck he was successful with last week at Texas. In fact, when they brought it here, they had made very few changes after the race at Texas. It was so good late in the race a week ago, and it appears JB is in contention for win number 2 in his home state of Michigan here today.
You can see that 23 truck, Phil. We were just chatting here while about some of the things we're seeing. That 23 truck is down in the front. We've documented Ron Hornaday's truck isn't, and they're running the same setup.
Mike Skinner in the 5 truck. Mike Skinner's truck.
Excuse me. That's why I didn't mean Hornaday. I meant Skinner.
What a big run the 15 of Mark Mitchell had on the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Is there something wrong with that truck, Ray?
Well, Hornaday's truck is really, really loose, but how about him going from all the way back to 32nd up to 11th, but he said that's all he's got right now. They're going to have to tighten him up a great deal if he's going to be able to be competitive inside the top 10. He said that truck, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a number 8 on the loose side.
And we see Mark Mitchell running all the way up near the wall, and Ron Hornaday staying down toward the bottom of the racetrack.
Mark's able to hold off Ron Hornaday, running around the top of the racetrack. Ron's having to pedal that thing quite a lot in the corners. But we're about ready to see some of these pit stops, aren't we?
We are. We saw the pit window was somewhere between 37, 38, and 42 or 43 laps. But remember, these guys have 3 laps of qualifying, basically 2 qualifying laps plus your warm-up lap. There's one of the trucks right there making his way down pit road. Donnie Leah has already been on pit road. That's Dennis Setzer right now coming down pit road in the 18 truck.
They had those 3 laps of qualifying plus a couple 3 laps of pace prior to the race starting. Adam, what's going on with the 18?
Well, he feels pretty good today, Michael. Solid qualifying effort. This team a week ago fell 2 laps down at Texas and rallied for an 11th place finish. Routine service coming at lap 33 for the 18. 4 tires, fuel, and a slight adjustment.
More trucks beginning to make the hard left turn onto pit road. TJ Bell on the 7 has come onto pit road, as has the 59 of Ted Musgrave. Take a look at the battle for the lead, though, on the left side. It's Todd Bodine looking to the inside of Scott Speed once again. Is he going to get by him? It looks like he's got the momentum this time.
Todd had a good run coming off turn number 2 there. He was able to get through the center of the corner a little bit better. Todd's going to drive right down to the white line. Scott's going to stay in the middle of the racetrack. Adam Alexander.
Here comes Matt Crafton in, pulling to a stop in his pit stall. Started 20th, worked his way to 10th in the running order, but then the truck went free. They will make an adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for him. This stop coming at lap 34. Brendan Gaughan on the pit lane as well.
Stacey Compton also on pit road now in the number 4. So we're seeing some different trucks using different pit strategy coming in a little bit earlier. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, so far that purple necklace hasn't helped Stacey Compton at all. He said his truck is absolutely the loosest he has ever driven anything. He said, tighten me up the very best you can. They dropped the track bar 4 rounds. That should help. Adam?
And an adjustment for Kyle Busch. He has complained about the truck being tight in the early going. You see the 51 coming in on lap 35. They will make an adjustment, trying to get the splitter down in the track. Kyle Busch away following his pit stop. And also coming down pit road will be the 14 of Rick Crawford. We all know the heartache he had last week at Texas. Came in the point leader, but an accident, a 21st place finish, dropped him 71 points out of the lead. Here, a 4 tire stop for Crawford, and now the leader leader. Scott Speed coming on to pit lane. A very successful debut for him here at Michigan. Going to be a 4-tire stop. After he took the lead from Todd Bodine, they asked him about the truck. He said it's good. No changes as of now. He will pull away. And as Scott Speed pulls away, here's Eric Darnell, one of those Roush Fenway trucks we expect to be good today. Darnell has had quite a run. Started 11th, quickly went to the top 5. 4 tires and fuel for him. His first stop at lap 36. Ray Dunlap.
Down on the track bar for Mike Skinner's Toyota Tundra. He's also loose throughout the course of the center. It'll be a 4-tire stop. Skinner said, I need a little bit help through the center, but maybe even a little bit more getting off of the corner. Adam?
Loose was the call for Todd Bodine, the leader. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel here on his stop at lap 37. Justin Marks, his teammate, in as well. Both these guys have been in the top 5 all weekend. Practice, qualifying, and now in the race. Minor changes for each. And the stop for Bodine, a good one. He's away. Solid work for the guys under green in the 30 camp. And there you see his teammate, Justin Marks. He had a 14th place finish after a pole last week. 4 tires for him on his first stop, Ray.
The adjustments on the Conway truck are a ½ a pound out of both front tires for Colin Brown. And remember, today Conway has 400 people here watching for hospitality because it's the 25th anniversary of that great company. Adam?
Solid run early for Johnny Benson. He worked his way into the top 5, stayed out when other guys pitted. He does lead a lap, and now he comes to pit road for 4 tires and fuel. And a good sign for the 06 winner here at Michigan. Great fuel mileage on this first run. So many times that comes into play. No changes for Benson. The 23 truck down and away at lap 38.
Great work down there, Ray and Adam, giving us all the green flag pit stops. The 60 was being scored as the leader, Terry Cook.
He's heading to pit road, Rick.
Sounds like another one on his way to pit road. We saw the 51 of Kyle Busch go by him.
Putting him back on the lead lap. You can see Terry Cook's got against that safer barrier at some point. Phil, he's got a little high.
Ray Dunlap, here comes the, well, former leader.
Well, we've been saying loose in the center, and that's pretty much what we've heard from every driver. Terry Cook said they want just 1 round down on the track bar. Now, you'll notice there is just a little bit of damage on the right side of his Weiler Tundra. He just barely scraped the wall on lap number 10.
Yeah, and guess who's leading?
And guess who's led every race this year?
Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday from last to first.
How about
gets
that?
the lead. Now he'll come to pit road, I think, Phil. You can't hardly afford to run too long on those old tires. He's liable to mess around and get lapped as fast as Scott Speed and Todd Bodine are right now. You can't afford to mess around. As soon as he got those 5 points for leading the race, he brought it to pit road.
4,500, they said, so he's got to make sure he's at pit road speed when he gets to that commitment line.
4 tires and fuel. 4 tires and fuel. Make sure you pack it good.
Ray Dunlap, here he comes.
Talking about getting all the fuel you possibly can in for Ron Hornaday. That is 10 consecutive races that he's led. Here comes that Camping World Chevrolet. And remember, I told you they had topped off on lap number 4. They'll get all the fuel in that they can. Tim Sanders is changing the front tires this week in replace of Gary, who sprained his ankle last week. Sanders with lots of experience in this series. Everything going smoothly. No problems there. They'll get the tires on. 4 tires and gas. Hornaday back to the racetrack.
All the way. It's all yours.
Good pit work by the Camping World RV guys. The 12 of Mario Goslin now has inherited the lead. First time he's ever led a Craftsman Truck Series race.
Yep, Mario Goslin, more known for his ARCA REMAX Series races. Fields a couple cars in the ARCA REMAX Series.
Won a lot of Hooters races in his day. Phil, good short track racer. Right now he's leading the race, but he's got company.
Yeah, Scott Speed is trying to take the lead from Mario Goslin right here.
Takes it away
Todd
from him.
Bodine right there behind Scott Speed. These guys have been together since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, when we went to when the pit stop started, Todd was leading Scott. He just passed him just prior to pit stops. Had a 10 or 15 truck length lead, Scott did, when Todd returned to the track. That shows you. Todd ran a couple extra laps on those old tires, and Scott was able to grab the lead, but Todd's closing in now.
So back out front of the field, it's Scott Speed, Todd Bodine. Chet Chapman was running up there in the top 5 for a while, as well as Johnny Benson. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. We are under caution for the second time. Debris has come out. The good thing is pretty much everyone had cycled through the green flag pit stops and were able to get back on the lead lap if they were running there prior to this caution coming out. Take a look at our race summary after 46 of the 100 laps. Scott Speed still holding on to the top spot. There's been 6 different drivers that have led laps, and we've had 10 different lead changes.
Yeah. And a terrific race for the lead this entire race with Scott Speed in the 22 and Todd Bodine in the 30. As a matter of fact, when the caution flag came out, they were side by side. Scott Speed was able to maintain the lead.
So are we going to see everyone come back in and potentially top off with fuel?
I think we'll see a lot of them come in. I'm not sure that everyone's going to come in. A lot of these trucks pitted in the high 30s. We've only run about 10 laps. There's our lucky dog right there, Rick Crawford. And he's indeed a lucky dog. He needs to get that Power Stroke diesel Ford back on the lead lap here and get in contention for a top 10 finish.
He headed to Texas with the point lead. Fell to 6th, and now having to get a lucky dog to get back on the lead lap. Maybe he can use this as a little momentum to get a little bit of bounce back in those guys' step.
Looks like Scott Speed was cheating to the left, and sure enough, he'll come down pit road, as will the 30. So 1 and 2 making their way down to pit road, Adam.
And there was a long debate on the radio about whether Scott Speed would come down pit road or not. Slugger Labby from the spotter stand, I think a lot of guys will come. So at the last second, they said bring in the 22. Here's the leader, Scott Speed on pit road. Last in, 12 laps ago. He comes in at lap 47. The call for them, right side tires. Todd Bodine never wavered. They said they were coming all the way. 4 tires and fuel for the 30. Ray?
Well, Hornaday came just because the leader did, but the big question was, are they going to do 2 or 4? Rick Wren said to his spotter, Rick Corelli, let me know what those other trucks are doing. It'll be right side tires only for Hornaday.
Looks like quite a few drivers got right side tires only.
Saw some gas and goes too, Rick. Some guys didn't take any tires at all, just got some fuel.
Kyle Busch passed to the left on pit road. Can you do that?
Exiting you can.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Looked like Johnny Benson may have been the guy that won the race off pit road.
We'll find out when we come back to Michigan International Speedway. Owner Kevin Harvick watching from high atop the pit box. Again, our second caution of the afternoon has come out. It was debris on the racetrack that brought out this caution, and now on pit road, once again, the 88 looks as though they're going to pull a tear off the windshield and top it off with fuel. They send him back out on the racetrack. Adam Alexander.
Yeah, the 88 came back down to top off with fuel, so mark it down. Lap 49 is when he came back down pit road. The 21 of John Wood did the same, and Setzer also a return trip down pit road as we are 1 lap shy of midway point.
A couple guys topping off again at the halfway point. Could anybody go the rest of this race without getting fuel?
Oh, I don't think so. With these small fuel cells, we're looking at only about 18.5 to 19 gallons, which is all they will hold.
Right.
And I just doubt very seriously if any of these guys can run 100 miles. Do you?
I don't know. That'd be close to 6 miles per gallon, and that don't work.
I don't think
if we have more cautions.
I think it would take a lot of cautions. Ray, what do you think? Any of these guys talking about possibly trying to go all the way?
Well, the 71 just said they might give it a try. That's why they came in and topped off. A number of these guys are telling me they're getting right at 5.1 miles per gallon, which is much better than we used to get. But with this tapered spacer and the way we're running here at Michigan, they say 5.1. So do that math times 19, then divide it by a 2-mile racetrack. That'll tell you. The best I heard from everybody was about 45 to 47 laps. So you'd take a good bit of caution for you to get in that window from this point forward.
Yeah, I think you're right, Wade. You're looking at 95 miles or something like that, which is 47.5 laps, and these guys would have to run 51 from the time they pitted. So that's going to be stretching it.
There's a lot of math. I saw the wheels turning there. Johnny Benson out in front of this field. Scott Speed behind him. Terry Cook, Eric Darnell running in the top 5 with Mark Mitchell.
The lap truck of David Starr jumped up in the outside line, about 3rd in line right there. There's Mark Mitchell at 15 going way high. There's Todd Bodine right through the middle. Ron Hornaday is going to follow him. Got to watch out for Mario Gosselin in that 12 truck.
Tight racing now. Mark Mitchell.
Todd goes to the inside. He's going to follow the 99 of Eric Darnell. The 33 of Hornaday is going to follow the 15 of Mark Mitchell.
They had a truck trapped in the middle, so everybody was trying to figure out where to go. They decide 4 wide will work. Todd Bodine to the bottom of the racetrack, clears Hornaday, trying to clear Starr.
Still 4 wide.
Makes
Could
it
be 5 wide here if Kyle Busch is going to run on the apron.
He likes it down there.
No out of bounds here at this racetrack. Nice move by Todd Bodine. Gained a bunch of positions on that move.
Look at that pack of trucks. All those guys desperate to gain a spot or two right now, Phil.
Look at Justin Marks getting real loose.
They're desperate to gain spots right now because this thing strings
Go
out.
right, go anywhere you need to get them.
You hear the spotter, go wherever you go. We got to get them right now. Now's the time to make some ground.
That was Colin Brown's spotter. Bobby Hudson tell him, go now, go wherever you need to. Ted Musgrave, look at that truck wiggle down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Trying to hang on to that thing. 3 wide now with the 15 and the 51. Those are teammates. Kyle Busch and Martin Mitchell running nose to tail now. David Starr in the 11 just on the outside of that pack.
You can tell Todd's trying to, battle for the lead. You got Scott Speed on the inside of Johnny Benson with Todd Bodine, seeing how all this is going to turn out.
See if Todd's going to use that draft to jump to the inside. Looks like he may try it. Try to pull up beside that 22. He's going to pull back over to get a little draft. Adam.
And what's interesting about these guys running up in that lead draft, all three had different strategies. You see Todd Bodine going by Scott Speed. Bodine, the lone guy in that group that got 4 tires on the pit stop at lap 47. Speed, who he went by, got right sides only. And Johnny Benson, the leader, no tires. He only got fuel. So all 3 different strategies paid out for these guys. We'll see how it works out over the long haul, Ray.
That was the same call for the Weiler Toyota. Number 60, Terry Cook's crew, went with fuel only as some of these other guys were getting tires. So instead of getting rights, they went fuel only. That got them track position. That puts them in the top 5.
Did you see Hornaday? He drove down on the apron there, slid up almost into Scott Speed. All he could do to hang on to that truck.
Very close call right there for Ron Hornaday and Scott Speed.
Okay,
he's going to try it again.
He gained it all back in one straightaway. He must have been able to rebound his throttle a little bit quicker than Scott could. Check this out, Phil.
He's going to dive bomb down to the bottom of the racetrack and just loses that front end, or else he loses the rear, has to chase it up the hill. There he goes. Scott's right there. Ooh, Ron turned that wheel left at the last second to stay off that 22 truck.
He just got
with him
underneath the yellow line, and the camber is off. The banking is different between the yellow line and under it. Battle for the lead. Todd Bodine got around Scott Speed. Now he's going after Johnny Benson's got those 4 fresh tires. Johnny didn't get any tires.
That's going to pay dividends right now for Todd in that Lumber Liquidators Toyota. But Johnny may be holding a set of tires in the back pocket.
Look at this, a little bumping almost there as Todd Bodine trying to get the side draft off of Johnny Benson.
Todd Bodine did lead that lap, got the lead from Johnny Benson. Can he clear him down in turn 1? Looks like he's got a shot at it, Phil.
He sure does. And that side draft is when a truck pulls over right next to the other truck to kill the other momentum of the other vehicle. Todd was able to parlay that into a little bit of a run and beat him down to turn 1.
Todd Bodine has led the most laps here in Michigan. 26 total after that last lap led. There's been quite a few others out front, but nobody as strong as Todd Bodine today. Under caution once again, the 3rd one of the day. This one coming out because Justin Marks got sideways going through turn number 2. Adam Alexander.
And guys, he had lost a great deal of track position. They one of the teams that took 4 tires on that pit stop at lap 47. That put him back in the pack. He lost it, flat spotted the tires, thus a trip down pit road. Unfortunate for them, they lose track position. The good news is he will rejoin the field on the lead lap and have a chance to come from behind here. And then there's Johnny Benson, who on track was losing some spots on that last restart. He was not saying much on the radio, so I anticipate the reason he was dropping back, that no tire stop that they had at lap 47. We'll see if perhaps the truck comes back over the course of a long run.
They might consider bringing that thing to pit road, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't think most of these guys are able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. We know now Justin Marks can make it on fuel.
Well, and Johnny could get those 4 fresh tires, get him some gas, and be all set.
It was about right where he's coming off of pit road right now when Justin Marks got sideways.
And on the inside of that 11 truck, we see that happen so often. Now here come the leaders down to pit road. Make sure they have enough fuel to get to the end.
Todd Bodine leads him. Scott Speed just behind him. Ron Hornaday running 3rd. Johnny Benson, Kyle Busch, top 5. Adam.
And for Todd Bodine, it's fuel only. This is a bit of a safety valve in case we get a long green flag run. The last thing you would want to happen, not pit here and then have to pit under green later. So fuel only for Bodine. Scott Speed and the other front runners in as well. They get a tear off for Bodine and he's away. Ray.
Hornaday got rights last time, so it'll be left side tires only this time. A quick pit stop is what they want to have to keep this track position amongst the other guys who came down pit road. They did not even consider taking 4 tires.
Johnny Benson did come down pit road and put 4 tires on. Remember last time he did not put any tires on at all. So he will lose a tremendous amount of track position.
How about Kyle Busch moving up to second as he was second in the race off of pit road. It's Todd Bodine and Kyle Busch, 1 and 2.
I'll tell you somebody just moved forward. The number 7, courtesy of Aaron's, just
about 2 miles.
That's all. 2 miles probably gives him a chance to race back up into the top 20. TJ Bell driving that truck this weekend. Aaron's is just making dreams come true and giving free laps away.
TJ's going to run this truck a handful of times. This is the TRG race team, teammate to Donnie Leah, and that's 71. Andy Lally will be back in that truck for a handful of races later this year.
TRG's got to be pretty proud of getting that first victory in their inaugural season, winning up there at Mansfield.
Yeah, that was big.
That was huge for that organization.
And what a great race that was, too. They were 3 wide going in turn 3 on the last lap for the lead.
And I thought it would be a caution fest. I thought we'd see lap after lap after caution. They raced hard all day long. There were cautions, but not too many.
Speaking of racing hard, it's about to heat up right here. Todd Bodine just in front of Kyle Busch. The green flag back out at Michigan.
Looking to the inside.
Kyle Busch trying for the lead here in Michigan.
Todd's out there running wide open. He restarted this race in the lead, said, how can I lose the lead? I ran this corner wide open.
Well, he might just say, well, I didn't like it back there. I'm going to drive around and get it back.
Look at Skinner. Look at the run Skinner has.
Look at Todd Bodine he was trying to crowd up in front of Kyle. Couldn't quite make it. Skinner clears them both. But can he move up the hill in time to take the lead off 4?
He's going to do a slide job on that 51 of Kyle Busch.
As did Todd Bodine. Bodine also went right in front of that 51.
Looked like the 51 developed a push up there coming off turn 4. Phil couldn't get the front of that truck to turn, and both look at John Wood all the way to the bottom.
They are moving all over the racetrack right now.
How about that 33 truck? Ron Hornaday.
Look at Todd Bodine around the outside of Skinner.
He's not going to let Skinner lead more than 1 lap. Mike Skinner had led that lap the last time by, but that was the only time he's led, even though starting on the pole.
Remember the attitude of the spotter and what we said when they're grouped up, we got to get them. We got to get them all right now. And I think that's what you just saw on that restart. Skinner jumped up there, got him 5 points.
You see Kyle with his left side completely below the white line down there in the corner. Look at this mess here. You've got Dennis Setzer, that 18 truck in the middle. There's Terry Cook, that Weiler Toyota going by on the outside. Brian Scott, the 16 Albertson's truck is with him. There's Colin Brown. He's getting past, looks like left and right. Mark Mitchell on the inside.
That's the best way to describe what that was, a mess. Those guys are all on different agendas, different runs off that 4th turn, trying to get up there toward the front. Brian Scott, look at that, all the way out to the wall.
And Colin Brown's going to go right by him.
Yeah, a little bit too wide. It looks like he got up in the loose stuff just a little bit, and they've run it all the way to the wall, so there's not much loose stuff up there or marbles, but looks like Brian might have got into it.
Todd Bodine in the middle of the racetrack. Mike Skinner looking down low as he goes through 3 and 4.
That 51 truck just isn't the truck we've seen it all year, Phil.
It sure is. But how about this 5 truck? We watched final practice yesterday. We were documenting the fact that that truck was a couple inches higher.
It still is.
We thought that they were not coil binding. They had a conventional setup, but truth was they were coil binding, and they just couldn't get that truck down. But right now, he's got a great race truck.
And I don't understand that really well, Phil, because we saw Scott Speed right out front. His truck was right down in the front. This is a team truck to that one. You would think they would just share the notes, and his truck would automatically drop down like Scott's does, but it's not that simple.
It really is, and I was talking to some of the team, and they said, you know, we came onto this coil bind situation a little bit late. We really feel as though if we're going to coil bind, and we think that's the way we're going to have to do it, then we're going to have to adjust our bodies to do that on these trucks. The 23 and the 22, their teammates have been doing that for a while.
Well, and if you think about Travis Kvapil up here yesterday, he talked about the Colbine setup last year. He couldn't drive it. He was too loose everywhere he went. Jack Roush and those guys got together and said, we need to change. We need more downforce on this truck. We need to put drag on the truck to take advantage of the Colbine setup in the front. Travis went on to win 4 races. He said it made a world of difference. So changing the springs in the front, okay, all of a sudden now we got to change our bodies. Isn't that crazy?
Well, crazy is what I would use to explain what's going on up front here. Todd Bodine trying to hold off Ron Hornaday and Mike Skinner. While all that's going on, it's time to test your Truck Series knowledge with the Aaron's Lucky Guess Trivia question. This is David Starr's 200 career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. How many other drivers have at least 200 series starts? The answer when we come back to Michigan right after this. Welcome back. This is David Starr's 200 start. How many other drivers have at least 5 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series starts? Anybody know?
200 NASCAR correct?
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Did you say 5 because that was the answer?
I think I might have. I gave away the answer, didn't I?
Yes,
Man, I hate when I do that.
Well, we
Rick
can see-
Crawford, Jack Sprague, both with 282 starts.
This is a battle for the lead. A couple of our most experienced Craftsman Truck Series drivers, and right there behind them, Mike Skinner. You know, early in the race, we had the kids up front. Now here are all the old guys coming. It's getting serious. We're getting down to the last quarter of this race.
And just because these 2 guys have so much experience, really these 3 guys, that doesn't mean we're not going to get a truck loose on the bottom and wobble up into the other one. But Ron Hornaday is able to take the lead from Todd Bodine.
What happened on the first lap, Phil? We didn't even make a corner. We had a veteran get a little bit loose.
Whoa, Ron Hornaday all the way down to the apron, and then he goes back up in front of Todd Bodine.
Scott Speed's not wanting to join this party. Driving on the inside of Skinner off turn 4 into 1. Scott
Teammates.
Speed to the bottom of the racetrack.
Ray Dunlap, what's going on with the 5?
Well, that may be an issue of the fact that they went for fuel only and no tires on this last pit stop. Now, Michael, you were talking about having to change the bodies on the car or truck. That makes a lot of sense because this is chassis number 70 that Skinner's driving, and they won with this truck back at Richmond in 2005. But I asked Mike how similar it was. He says it may as well not even be the same truck. Completely different because since they've gone to Coilbine, they had to change the body on it, change all the front geometry. He said it's really like driving a completely different truck than the one we won with in 2005. Adam?
Todd Bodine, fuel only at lap 60 as well, Ray, and he just came on the radio and said way too loose. A lap later, he lost the lead to Hornaday, and he's about to give up second to Scott Speed. He took 4 tires at lap 60. He loves the truck. He's gone from 8th now to the runner-up spot in the last 10 laps. He is on the move.
Another guy on the move is Eric Darnell on that number 99. He is broken into the top 4.
Keep an eye on that 22 truck right here. Let's see if he can get up here and do something with that 33 of Ron Hornaday. Johnny Benson's going to join this battle as well. Remember, Johnny put tires on his last pit stop, did fuel only the time before that, put 4 tires on.
I know that's got to make Mike Skinner want to just shake his head. How is this kid in this truck like mine driving by me and going up there and racing for the lead? I can't get my truck to do that. I've won all kinds of these races. I've won all kinds of poles. My truck isn't cooperating. Why is Scott Speed's working for him?
Ron Hornaday has his mirror full of Scott Speed right now. Scott Speed looking for his 2nd win in just his 1st ever season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Ron Hornaday in Texas continued to add to his record of wins in this series at 35.
His legacy.
Unbelievable what he's been able to do in the trucks.
And here comes that battle for the lead. Scott Speed down on the inside. Eric Darnell, the 99, running in his tire tracks, gave him a little drafting help. Side by side going in 1.
Scott Speed looks as though he's got the better handling truck until he gets loose there through 1. And here comes Eric Darnell with that 99.
22 got loose again off of 2.
I was going to say, Scott still hasn't saved it. He's just got the gas wide open. The back end's still waving at him. See if he can clear Ron down here in turn 3.
Those 2 side by side into 3. Now right now Eric Darnell's got to be loving this because he's getting a draft off of both of these trucks.
He's going to use that draft off that 33 truck to get by the 22 on the outside. I thought he may wait and try to pass them both going down the front stretch. Right now content to follow that 33. Adam Alexander.
Now Darnell, another one of those guys that took 4 tires on that pit stop at lap 60, Phil. And you know what? He is all about winning here at Michigan. He's a part of that Roush Fenway group that has won here 3 times in the trucks. And of course, he won an ARCA race here a year ago. And he's about to put himself in position for his 2nd career Truck Series win. And what about Johnny Benson? Also a 4-tire stop for him a handful of laps ago. JB on the move as well.
Yeah, Roush Fenway's had a lot of success. 16 wins on this racetrack between Cup, Nationwide, and Truck Series. So Eric Darnell looking to add to that.
I like what Eric's doing right now, Phil. He's faster, but he watched Scott Speed struggle to complete that pass against Ron Hornaday. Got sideways, almost lost that truck. Eric's looking at Ron right now, waiting for that opening, waiting for a chance to get clear of Ron when they get to the corner. He knows he's faster. Watch him gain on him right there in the corner. To the high side. Can he make it work off 2?
Is Ron going to give him room up there? He does give him room.
So can Eric Darnell make the pass? It looks as though he's going to get by him. No one else has been able to do it up to this point, but Darnell trying to hold on now. Hornaday back down to the bottom of the racetrack, battling for the lead once again.
You hear Hornaday out of the throttle down there. Watch the right side of your screen. You're going to see that 23 of Johnny Benson. Going to take advantage of him getting out of that throttle and pass by him on the outside.
So a new leader at Michigan International Speedway. Eric Darnell in the Northern Tools Ford F-150 takes it away. Johnny Benson lurking right behind him in 2nd. We'll be right back. Speaking of speed, he's just in front of Ron Hornaday on the racetrack.
The Scott version of the speed.
Exactly. He has moved up. Eric Darnell continues to lead. Johnny Benson continues to lurk back there in 2nd with just 21 laps to go.
I really like what Johnny Benson's doing. He's feeling that truck out, looking at some different lines. When he gets to the corner, wherever the 99 truck is, that's where Todd he chooses a different line and see how his truck feels there.
How about this 15 of Mark Mitchell running in front of the 51 of Kyle Busch?
I don't think he's outrun him head-to-head ever. And he just drove around him. And look at the line Mark Mitchell's running. That's a veteran line he's running. Drove all the way up into the top 5 of that number 15 truck.
Adam, how about that number 15 truck, Mark Mitchell?
It's been a combination of a good truck and good strategy. When they came in at lap 47, they went fuel only. That got him track position. They came back in with the leaders at lap 64 tires. He restarted 17th and now is driven to the top 5. An amazing ride for this young kid who's part-time in the Truck Series, but we should have seen this coming. The same truck a week ago at Texas 12, his best ever finish, and he's proving the confidence has paid off here today.
Let's go ahead and add him to the list, Phil, of guys that could get their first win, and it wouldn't be a surprise. You know, Mark Mitchell has driven into the top 5 against the best in his series here at Michigan.
How about Colin Brown right here? Just drove by that 51 truck of Kyle Busch. He moves up to the 6th spot. That's his highest running position. But how about Rick Crawford? He got the Aaron's lucky dog just a couple cautions ago. He moves by that 51 truck for the 7th spot.
And Skinner, we saw him up near the lead. He's back tonight. And Todd Bodine is free falling. He's back to 11th.
Look at the close call right there that Mark Mitchell had going to the inside of Colin Brown. He was right on his back bumper, and he's going to make that pass.
That's a battle for the 5th spot right there. Colin Brown wants that 5th spot. Mark Mitchell took it away from Kyle Busch, and now Colin Brown wants it. You hear him out of the throttle a little bit up on the top of the racetrack.
On the left side, you see Rick Crawford and Kyle Busch. Those two running 7th and 8th on the racetrack. Then to the right side, you see the 6 of Colin Brown and the 15 of Mark Mitchell.
This is a great race. These guys are battling all over the place. The lead, those guys are just sort of sorting each other out, trying to figure out who's good where. But all over the rest of the track, you see Crawford there driving up to the 7th spot after looking like his day was in the water, dead in the water, until he got that Aaron's lucky dog.
Lap 50, Aaron's lucky dog. We've only run 33 laps since then, and he's now running 7th.
Remember what we said when that happened? We said he went to Texas with a point lead, had a crash, came here, down a lap. Maybe this Aaron's lucky dog put some spunk in him, give him a bump in their step. He's taking advantage of that break.
How about that 10 truck right there? Brendan Gaughan qualified all the way in the 25th spot. Moves around the 5 truck of Mike Skinner to take over the 9th spot. We talked to him during our happy hour show yesterday. He said, my truck is good. I like it on the high side of the racetrack, and now he's showing us.
Brendan Gaughan runs the high side. Mike Skinner down on the bottom of the racetrack. Brendan Gaughan moving up into the top 10 right now. He's trying to take away the spot that Mike Skinner holds, which is 9th, so he moves into 9th. We're going to slip away one more time. When we come back, we'll see the race to the checkered flags here in Michigan. It's been packs of trucks we've seen run side to side, door to door all day long, and now 2 trucks have separated themselves from the rest. Eric Darnell in front of Johnny Benson. Eric Darnell looking to hold on and claim only his 2nd victory in this series. Johnny Benson hasn't been to victory lane in 2008. He looks to break into that win column this year.
And riding along in 3rd, Scott Speed. He's just hoping those 2 get to mixing it up a little bit. He's matching their lap times. He's just about maybe just a little over a second behind them. Those 2 get side by side. He's right there on them.
There's Matt Kraft on the 88 Menard Chevrolet getting by that 30 of Tabodine to take over the 11th position. Again, there's a battle for the lead. You see Scott Speed right there, just a little bit over 1 second behind the 2 leaders.
That's what is he out of the draft right now? Because I mean, he's still getting help, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of help, and he's lurking. He's just laying there, running the same lap times those 2 are, thinking, you guys get side by side, I'm going to come up there and make it 3 wide and take the lead. And that's how these races get decided a lot of times. These guys get to battling, and somebody slips in and gets them they didn't even see coming.
Closing in on 11 laps of racing to go. That's 22 miles here at Michigan is all we have remaining in this
Check that out.
battle.
Mark Mitchell.
Wow, look at him pull away from Ron Hornaday.
He was just able to get by the 6th of Colin Brown to take over the 5th spot, and now he went after Ron Hornaday and took it. Contact.
Contact there by Ron Hornaday, moving up the racetrack, gets right on the left rear quarter panel.
Now Hornaday will try to take advantage of that position and drive deep into that 3rd turn. Mark going the high road, keep her wound up. Be interesting if he can keep Ron pinned down on the inside. Yes, he does it. Now Mark will just drive away from Ron. The last time by, Mark ran faster than the leaders and passed Hornaday.
Get your river back. Get your river back now.
Missed his exit off turn 2, about gave the position back, but now has cleared Hornaday. He's got a fast truck, Phil.
Look at Kyle Busch.
That's a battle right there for the 7th position. Kyle Busch, the 51 and the 10 of Brendan Gaughan, racing for 7th, though the 14 of Rick Crawford in that battle. That's a teammate to Brendan Gaughan. And there's Mike Skinner, the 5 truck, trailing in 10th.
Now they go nose to tail down the backstretch. Again, getting a little bit of a draft off each other. Brendan Gaughan breaking the air there. Now Crawford goes down. Skinner goes with him. Kyle Busch stays up high.
Yeah, remember, Brendan Gaughan has won here before. He won back in the 2003 season. He also finished 3rd in this race last year.
Brendan Gaughan 8 wins in his career, but he hasn't won since 2003. Here we go for the lead. Johnny Benson down to the bottom of the racetrack. Can't make the pass. Eric Darnell back by him on the top.
Now look who's coming. Here comes Scott Speed. That's what he was waiting for. He's waiting for those guys to get side by side.
Just one time.
That's all I wanted. And he's there. He's trying to take 2nd away from Johnny Benson down into turn 3. He's there, Phil.
He is there. Let's see what he can do when he gets down to the corner. Johnny's going to fight back on the outside.
Again, those 2 are teammates.
Right now, they're thinking about who wants to get up there and race that 99 for the win. They're not thinking teammates right now.
We're inside 10 to go. That teammate rule kind of goes out the window at that point.
Eric Darnell pulling away from these 2 trucks. They need to get back nose to tail so they can work together to catch up to Eric.
Well, I think both Johnny and Scott have a little bit better truck than Eric. Eric's got that track position, but they're both been able to close up on Eric. Johnny keeps the 2nd spot by running the high line. You watch them, Rick. They'll close right back down in on that 99.
They get nose to tail once again, but a little gap between Johnny Benson and Scott Speed. Again, running 2nd and 3rd. Here's some more side-by-side racing on the racetrack.
That's Regan Smith on the Morgan Dollar, number 46. There's a 09 right there. Bobby East, he had a great run last week, top 10. He's up here battling in the top 15.
Another guy we can't count out is Mark Mitchell. He is running fast on the racetrack.
He just got in the turn, got into the wall off turn 4. Did a lot of damage. Got some fender up. That lap before that, I know those guys were battling. He was a half a second faster than the lead, but I believe his day just went out the window. Got up too high off 4 into the fence. Still got a good line up there, fast off turn 2, but that tire rub concerns me, Phil.
It sure does, and you can tell the difference. You see the 33 truck, he was on the bottom of the racetrack. and it was obvious that it's flatter down there than it was up there where that 15 truck of Mark Mitchell was running.
There's the tire going down.
Yeah,
There it went.
that's probably going to bring out a caution. There he is right there, up into the wall right there.
That was when he went into the wall. That was before he just got into the wall when the tire went down, and now the caution has come out.
Man, he had a career day going.
Hey, guys, remember on restarts how it gets to be, what did you say?
A mess.
A mess?
A mess? We're about to see a mess at the end of this race.
We're going to have a mess. It's going to be a single file restart because we're inside of 10 laps to go, but I assure you it will be a mess.
It is going to be a mess.
I don't think there's any way Eric Darnell takes off leading this race and makes it off turn 2 with that lead.
I don't think so, too.
If he does, he has done an unbelievable job, because these guys will lay back on him. They'll try to get a run on him. They'll get to turn 1, and whatever he does, they'll do the opposite.
Adam Alexander.
Part of the maturation process of being successful in NASCAR, finishing the deal. And as we all know, it tightens up in those final laps. Tough break for Mark Mitchell, unable to finish it off here today. But once again, they knew he was here. A successful run for the 15. Unfortunately, he's not able to go to the finish. You see him on pit road, Ray.
And Adam, a very tough call right now for Rick Wren and Ron Hornaday. Hornaday saying his right front tire has completely given up and he feels like it may be ready to come apart. So they're trying to debate whether they should pit right now. Rick Wren just said on the radio, if we pit, it could be a very bad day. If we don't pit, it could be a very bad day. What are we going to do?
Well, sounds to me like it could be a very bad day either way.
Kind of either way, it's going to be a bad day. But you know you don't want to stay out there and lose that right front tire. You know what that's going to look like.
If I'm Todd Bodine, if I'm Hornaday, some of these guys, I think I'm going to pit. Here comes Todd. Kyle Busch.
Seeing a couple of the trucks make their way down pit road. So Eric Darnell out there on an island. Adam Alexander.
Well, and nothing to lose for a lot of these guys, but plenty to gain by coming down pit road. Todd Bodine very, very loose after not taking tires on that last stop. And the long haul hurt Kyle Busch as well, because he went fuel only on that stop at lap 60. Both come in here, 4 tires, top off the fuel tank, and they'll see if they can make a run at it, Ray.
4 tires for Terry Cook in that Weiler Toyota. Boy, I don't know. 23 trucks on the lead lap. Can these guys get back to the front in that short amount of time, guys?
I think so. I think some of these guys will challenge for this lead before this race is over. I know there's only going to be 3 or 4 laps to go, but they pitted, you know, from about 8th or 9th on back. So fresh tires that close to the front could be huge.
I think the guys up front were counting on maybe more trucks staying out on the racetrack, that we have so few laps to go. We're only showing 5 laps to go right now.
I know Eric Darnell was happy to see Scott Speed, Johnny Benson, some of those guys directly behind him not diving onto pit road. That gives them a cushion, a little bit of a cushion, not much of one.
The earliest we'll see the green flag would be with 3 laps of racing to go. Lights are still on the pace truck. Take a look at how much Roush Fenway has dominated this racetrack. 16 total wins, 10 in the Sprint Cup Series alone.
Yeah, tremendous record here at the Michigan International Speedway. He would sure like to add another Craftsman Truck Series win to that total right here today. I know how happy he was last year. We had a good shot of him on the pit box when Travis Quabble won this race. He was a very, very happy man.
He may start doing flyovers at every race.
This is going to be crazy, y'all. We got it set up for an unbelievable finish. Scott Speed right on Eric Darnell's bumper when they come to get this green flag.
Kim Lopez letting him know one more time, 1 lap, until we get the green flag once again here at Michigan.
Matt Pusha is the crew chief on that 99 truck of Eric Darnell. He was not happy to see this caution flag. Let's take a look back. This is Matt Pusha right there when the caution flag comes out. He's looking at the scoreboard right there. Oh, see it right?
Not good.
How bad's he want to win? Oh, please don't. you just want this so bad.
He's looking at his replay now. He's probably going, okay, they saw that. They saw me get a little upset. Darn it.
If I'm Matt Pusha, I'm telling Eric Darnell, I want to spin those back tires, keep those front tires cleaned off. We've got to get a career restart here. If he lets them get side by side with him into turn 1, he's liable to finish 7th or 8th.
They're liable to be 4 or 5 wide by the time they get to turn 3.
Couple young guys up in front of Johnny Benson. Ray, what are they thinking about this restart?
Well, Trip Bruce is telling him, make sure you're careful with that truck. He's driving chassis number 60. It won 4 races in 06. One of those was at Milwaukee. It won 2 races last year. One of those was at Milwaukee. And guess where we go next week? Milwaukee. Adam?
And Eric Darnell leading on this restart, but you look at the pit box, no Jack Roush. You wonder why? Well, the flyover earlier, he is back here at the track, but he said he's staying away from pit road. He doesn't want to be a jinx. You better believe if Darnell wins, Jack Roush will be on his high horse to get in here and congratulate his team.
This is what it's all about here.
He was already on his P51 earlier when the anthem was over.
A critical restart right here for Eric Darnell in the lead.
For several guys, you got Ron Hornaday lurking back there in fourth. Johnny Benson doesn't care what happened at Milwaukee last year. He wants to win this race today.
3 laps of racing to go. Green flag back in the air. Eric Darnell, a great restart. Just in front of Scott Speed. Johnny Benson lays back. He's got Ron Hornaday all over his back bumper.
Look at Hornaday move to the inside of Johnny. He's going to hold that thing down. He had to pedal a little bit. Johnny may have the momentum on the high side. Here comes Colin Brown looking at the high side of Johnny Benson.
Trying to take the position away from Ron Hornaday. They're side by side down the backstretch.
Here they go, 3-4 wide down the backstretch.
You see Tom Bodine in the center of your screen and Kyle Busch both on fresh tires driving up beside the 46 of Regan Smith.
Look at Johnny go on the outside of the 22 of Scott Speed.
Those two guys with fresh tires are not that far back from our race leader, Eric Darnell. Still trying to hold them off.
Tom Bodine is coming, boys.
Hey, guys, how about that 10 truck of
Brendan Gaughan.
Brendan Gaughan up to the 4th spot already.
And closing in on Johnny Benson. When he gets to turn 1, he'll try to go to the outside of Benson. Is there going to be room for Brendan to look up there?
We're inside of 2 laps to go. It looks as though Ron Hornaday backing off now as he's got to catch that truck. Here comes Todd Bodine.
And those 4 new tires right there.
He's on it.
Todd Bodine next time. Ron Hornaday battles back on the outside.
Ron Hornaday decided, hey, wait a minute.
Todd makes easy work of him when they get to turn 3. He's only got 6 trucks ahead of him. 5 now.
Look at that run through the center of the corner. There's Colin Brown right there.
Again,
Colin's in the
Darnell
5th spot.
has 2 truck length lead over Johnny Benson. He's taken over 2nd.
Benson's gaining on him. Todd Bodine makes another move on the inside of the 6 truck.
Final lap, inside of 2 miles to go. We're riding along with Colin Brown.
Oh, we got a spin.
Problems in turn number 1.
No
Sliding
caution.
is Ron Hornaday.
No caution. These guys are racing back. No caution.
Ron Hornaday off the racetrack. The field gets through 1 and 2. They stay green. Eric Darnell tries to hold off Johnny Benson. Here he comes looking to the bottom of the racetrack.
Johnny goes right down to the bottom.
What a great job by Eric Darnell. Here comes Tom Bodine.
Johnny Benson looking to the inside. It's door to door as they come to the start-finish line. Johnny Benson trying to get it. He's going to go across the start-finish line. They were almost identical across the start-finish line. We still haven't seen as they have updated the scores.
We couldn't tell. We're right on the start-finish line, and we could not tell who won the race.
They're going to have to go to the camera. They're saying it was that close to find out who won this race. Johnny Benson and Eric Darnell were side by side when they went across the start-finish line.
Let's see what we have on our camera right here. There comes Johnny Benson. He's on the inside right against the gravel.
And Johnny Benson right now has the edge.
But not for long. Here comes Darnell with the momentum on the high side, getting that side draft to the line.
Closing in on the start-finish line.
Eric Darnell.
Almost a dead heat.
I think it's Eric Darnell by
I don't
inches.
know if Johnny Benson might not get the nod here. This right here may be the closest finish ever in the history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Thanks a lot, guys. You guys are awesome. Good job.
They're claiming Eric Darnell gets the win. It's win number 2 for Darnell. Adam Alexander.
Guy that knows all too well about what it's like to win in Michigan. The truck owner, Jack Roush. You had to wait a while, but Jack, congratulations. What a finish.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, Eric was really good today. I was out doing some other things and missed the beginning of the race. I don't know exactly how it ended, but he was really motivated, and he deserved this, I'm sure.
When you see the tape, you won't believe it. Jack Roush going to victory lane for the 4th time in his Truck Series career here at Michigan.
You ever seen a man that deserved to win? It was Eric Darnell. Perfect restart. He kept him off of him for a lap or 2. Johnny Benson charged on him at the end. Johnny was looking high on Eric when they got to turn 1, so Eric moved high in 3 and 4 to block his line. Johnny said, I'm going low. Man, that was a great race.
And again, this all culminated back behind them. The 33 of Ron Hornaday got knocked in the back.
Looked like the 51 of
Yep,
Kyle Busch may have
Busch
made
got
contact.
That turned him around. Now the field was able to go through there, so we stayed green, and that enabled these two trucks to race to the start-finish line.
I love NASCAR in this position.
There's another view right here. Watch the 51 truck right behind the 33 of Ron Hornaday.
NASCAR set on that caution flag. They knew Ron had spun down out of the way, and the
corner on your bumper.
Definite contact right there.
He was trying to save it.
that's your point leader spinning around down there in turn 2, Rick.
Sure enough, he got turned around. When he finally got it going again, he ended up 23rd unofficially on the scoring.
And the points up front were tight.
Take a look at the way this one finished. Johnny Benson's going to go all the way down to the apron. Eric Darnell follows him down there to get that side draft, and then almost a dead heat at the line.
Johnny Benson got away from Eric as fast as he could, but Eric came and found him.
What a finish. What a finish.
Unbelievable how close that was. And the closest finish.
The 3 wide third, by
third.
the way. They're still trying to figure out who finished third, too.
The closest finish ever in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is 1/1000th of a second. We may have been under that here today at Michigan. Eric Darnell goes to victory lane. We'll be down there right after these messages. Now let's see how Eric Darnell and his Northern Tool and Equipment number 99 team had the winning touch in today's race.
What a smart race Eric Darnell drove here. He drives by the outside of that Camping World Chevrolet Ron Hornaday. And here it is, right at the line here. Almost too close to call.
I just love the way the job this young man did. That restart was textbook. He was able to get away from them for a lap or two. Now, they eventually came back and got to him, but what a great job by Eric Darnell.
Let's go down to victory lane and Adam Alexander.
And Eric Darnell celebrating a win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for the second time in his career, and one he will never forget. Oh my, what a run. He got off of turn 4. You held him off. Take us through that final corner.
Man, I'll tell you what, Johnny racing real clean. He ran me clean the whole race, and I mean, that's what truck races are all about. This is exciting stuff. I can't say enough about Matt Puch and everybody on this Northern Tool and Equipment crew. Gave me a great piece tonight. This thing is brand new. You know, I never had it out on the track yet, and to come out first time with a win is pretty awesome.
5/1000ths of a second, the difference. That is close. How can a win like this help the momentum for this team?
Oh, it's definitely going to help the momentum. I mean, we've had some strong runs this year, been close a couple times and haven't been able to pull it off. You know, so to finally get that win is going to help us out a lot. You know, we had a strong run at Charlotte a couple weeks ago and weren't quite able to pick it up there. So hopefully this will be able to get our season finally turned around.
First win for Ford this year, and also you helped Jack back to victory lane here at Michigan. How special is that?
That's really special being in Ford's backyard. You know, I can't thank Ford Motor Company enough. This Roush Yates engine was awesome today. You know, had quite a bit of power. We were able to hold those guys off at the end, and you know, it was just a really good run for us. Travis won this race last year, Travis Quapple, so to be able to repeat you know, 2 years in a row with the Roush Fenway team is pretty awesome.
Win number 1 for Eric Darnell over a year ago at Kansas, but it's worth the wait for number 2. He celebrates victory this afternoon here at Michigan. Ray.
Well, Adam, believe it or not, there's a big smile on Johnny Benson's face. You got a win here 2 years ago and a second by about 3 inches. Anything you'd like to have done differently?
No, I can say that was a close second. That's one thing you can't say about that. But everybody on the outside Toyota just done a tremendous job, and just got to really thank them, Trip Bruce and the guys, for giving me a pretty good piece. I mean, I was a little concerned at the start, and then everything was going pretty good, and then it kind of fallen, and then all of a sudden it was going pretty good again. But 99 was pretty strong. I mean, they were really, really strong. I knew I had one shot at them. I kept trying down 1 and 2, but I couldn't do anything down there. And so I tried that last little bit. Thought I had a good enough run on them, but man, I don't know. He just got back by. But Toyota and everybody's done a great job. Got to really thank Toyota Certified Used Vehicles. You know, Valvoline, Bosch, Mentex Brakes, just everybody that helps on this truck. And they just continue to give us great stuff week in, week out. And just, man, it just...
Well, there'll be a lot of great...
Not to win here.
There's going to be a lot of great pictures in the paper tomorrow. That's the good thing, Johnny. Exide on the front of this truck, and a very, very close second for JB.
Johnny Benson again, just 5/1000ths of a second away from his win, but it was Eric Darnell grabbing Ford's first win in 2008.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.